24 hours or something to download anything more. Have you come across that? Right? So how they manage to track that?
They
Using a source IP address, from which IP address you're trying to download. Have you ever tried to log in from another machine or connect to that and it worked? Right, because when you try to connect from another machine, they have to keep track based on that IP address, right? So they won't be able to capture that. Yes?
What would be the problem when they do that, when they disable you from downloading all that?
Because you don't want to keep on using the bandwidth and kind of cause a denial of service attack. Because if you keep downloading everything, right, each network has a fixed bandwidth. So you will be using all the bandwidth, and a genuine user who also wants to get those data, the files, will not be able to use the network. Right. So that's why they limit how much. Typically, the free service providers. Right? There's only one user to dominate at the cost of others. Right? So those things are done with a stateful inspection firewall. So a stateful inspection firewall has to do more work. In the sense that it has to keep track of. So for that, you have to typically use TCP sessions. So if you again, from a networking class, you know TCP and UDP are the transport layer protocols, right? And UDP is basically like message based, so it's not easy to keep track of how many bytes have been sent and received. So to do all these things, you have to use TCP. So that's why 85% of the internet uses TCP as a transport layer protocol. So you have to keep track of the session that the source has with the server, the client has with the server to download those files. And if the client has downloaded more than that many, the maximum threshold allowed bytes, then that client is kind of blocked. Okay, so that's one use of source, the stateful inspection firewall. Another use, a couple of more uses are, if you have gone through again TCP connection establishment process in your networking course, it's a three-way handshake, right? Remember, you can tell what's a three-way handshake, what are the messages to be part of?
Send.
SYN.
Yeah.
Send a SYN packet to establish a sender request. Let's say this is a client server, right? So a SYN packet basically is a connection request packet telling that I want to open a TCP session with you. Okay? So, and the server will allocate the resources that are needed for the session. So typically some buffer space. Okay? And then it sends back an acknowledgement. And also piggyback on the acknowledgement is a SYN flag set to indicate that, because TCP connections are unidirectional. So if you want to send in both directions, you have to send a SYN packet on this direction to indicate packets can go back and forth. And for that, this guy acknowledges. So when the server sends back a SYN, the client also allocates some buffer space. Okay? So the whole TCP connection is allocated some resources, basically. Okay? Typically at the server side, if you want to really do something to the server. So someone can misuse this by sending what? The SYN packets only, the first packet, from a spoofed IP address. Spoofed IP address means someone will send a SYN packet that appears to come from your client, but this client would not have sent that packet. From somewhere else, that packet SYN message will come. Okay? And this guy will allocate the resources and send back the acknowledgement to whom? This address, right? Because this thinks the message came from this, request came from this, right? But this guy wouldn't have even requested the connection, so it won't send in the acknowledgement. So it will drop the packet. So who is affected now with this? So the server, right? The server's allocated the resources. This guy won't even follow up with it because it just wants to what? Make the server to allocate the buffer space, and then it will keep on doing that, right? How? It will cause what is called a distributed denial of service attack by sending the such SYN packets from several sources. Remember I told sometimes a zombie-based attack? So each zombie could send several SYN connection request packets like this and make the server to allocate buffer space for all those connection request packets. And nobody will follow up with it. Which means then if a genuine client tries to contact the server and tries to establish a TCP connection, that client will be denied service. So that's what's called a SYN flood attack. Okay, so it's called a SYN flood attack. So the zombies will, or even from one machine you could do that, but nowadays with one machine you could trace back who sent the request. So you don't typically launch from one machine, you launch a distributed denial of service attack, thinking the SYN message to come from multiple machines. Okay, so how to prevent the SYN flood attack with the stateful firewall?
By using the tracking, using the stateful firewall.
Yeah, because all the SYN packets have to go through this firewall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as I said, what's the purpose of SYN packet? It wants to establish a TCP station, the particular server. So all the SYN packets should be at least sent to a particular IP address, right? The server IP address. So if there are several SYN packets coming to a particular IP address within a short amount of time, it means really someone is trying to launch an attack on that particular server. And also sometimes on the server you want to say if it's a file server or something, all the port numbers, destination port number of all the SYN packets will be a particular port number, right? In addition to the IP address. So if at least the IP address is all matching the particular server, or even the port number is all matching the particular port number of that server, then the stateful firewall can start dropping those SYN request messages, because it's a kind of attack signature. So if several packets come within a certain time, so this could be false positive or negative. So if someone, it doesn't make sense for someone to send so many SYN packets, right? But even in some rare cases, a genuine user could be trying to establish multiple TCP sessions, right? So if those packets are dropped, it's a false positive. But we don't have false negatives in the sense that you keep on allowing all the SYN packets and then all those packets cause the denial of service attack, right? So after a while you want to drop some packets, yes?
I mean, you were saying something about a single user establishing multiple sessions. I mean, so what if, like, let's say an airline website, during Christmas holidays, the website will be usually busy. So what if, it's not coming from a single user, it's coming from different people at the same time? They will think it's an attack, wouldn't they?
No, if you send it from different, that's why it is not easy, that's the situation of false positive negative.
Yeah.
So the zombies, even if you are launching from multiple machines, multiple requests, right?
Yeah.
You won't send more than 1 or 2 requests, isn't it? But if the zombies send, each zombie sends say 100 or 1,000 packets, or SYN request packets.
Yeah.
That's a kind of attack signature, right? So even if you do multiple reservations, different people all across the world are doing reservations, right?
Yeah.
Each user won't be sending more than 1 or 2 packets.
So what if an attacker is using the multiple IPs to send it?
That's the problem. So if an attacker manages to find that many zombies,
Yeah.
and so it's like basically finding 10 zombies and making each zombie to send 1,000 packets each, or finding 1 million zombies and making each zombie to send 1 or 10 packets. You see what the difference is?
Yeah.
This is easy to detect.
Your 10 zombies.
It's easy to detect because all the attack pattern will come from only 10 zombies.
Okay.
And if you manage to find 1 million zombies and make each of them to send only 10 packets, it's very difficult to detect. Right. Yes.
To get 1 million zombies, you gotta have that many computers on. That's about
Do you think how many computers on the internet? Can you count it? There are that many computers.
But that tech would be hard to control, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult, but
They
you.
control other these computers.
What's that?
He said they can control other
Right, it's botnet. We saw the term in this spyware malware class, right? So it's a network of all these zombies.
So they can control other
They
people.
control.
And then the people don't even know and they send the zombies.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you never know, your own machine could be a zombie, right? Because statistics says that 25% of the computers in the internet are zombies.
How do you know it's a zombie?
You never
You
know
don't.
because that's why they run this. You can't find out easily. I will take it back. You can find out, but it's not find easily. what's the name for that? So it could be like a Trojan horse running on a machine preventing you from you knowing that. Or a rootkit will be there. When you want to find out what makes your machine to slow down, you press Control or delete to see what processes are running, right? There is a virus running in the background, but that virus is not listed in the list of processes. So how is it managed? Using the rootkit. So there's a rootkit that will always accompany all this software, malicious software, that will prevent a genuine user from detecting the presence. Okay? So that could be that. So
Dr. Bag,
yes,
that default deny and default allow, that's a firewall. Is it a stateful? That's not a stateful
that's
firewall.
not stateful. That's stateless.
Stateless.
Right. So we'll stop with this. Continue from next time.